Okay, welcome back, Beginning Guitar. Let's get right into it. So we are going to do the chromatic scale to warm up. We're going to climb up and we're going to say the notes if possible. So I'm going to do it on these 4 fret areas, okay? So only staying down here at what I call the bottom of the guitar. So starting with the top string, the E string, we're going to move up. If you want to get the keyboard in front of you, do it now. That way you have a reference point. So let's climb up all 12 tones from E to shining E and maybe beyond. Okay, so E, then F comes next because there's nothing between E and F. Then F sharp, then G sharp on that 4th fret E string. Now the next note we need is A, which is the open string. So the next open string down is A. Then we do A sharp here. Then B, C, because there's nothing between B and C. Now C sharp on the 4th fret. Next note we need is D, so we go down to the next open string. Then D sharp, then E, then remember there's nothing between E and F, so we're going to keep going to F, and then F sharp with the pinky on 4. From F sharp we need to go up 1 to G, so we're going to do the open string again. Then 1st fret G sharp, 2nd fret A, 3rd fret A sharp, 4th fret B. Notice that the 4th fret on this string is B. The next open string is also B. That's fine, so you can skip that or you can play them both, whatever you prefer. Might be best to do the G string to the 3rd fret and then go to the next open string. So G sharp, A sharp, then the open string next is B. Then C, because there's nothing between B and C. Then we got C sharp, D, and D sharp. Last string is going to start with E, then F, because there's nothing between E and F. Then F sharp, G, and G sharp. So that's every note on all 4 frets on all 6 strings down here. As a challenge, we should now move this and translate this, so we should go up somewhere. Maybe we'll go up to the 5th fret position. So now the index is on the E string 5th fret, and that note is, well, if you're not sure, you start at the bottom and work your way up. So E, F, sharp, G, sharp, A, right? Okay. So now we have the A note, and we're going to climb here. Okay, so right here we have A, and we're going to climb all the way across the strings, but never going left with our left hand. We're going to stay on this 5th fret. We're never going to go below. I shouldn't say never, but for this we're not going to go below. So let's start. Here we go. A is our first note now. Next one we need is A sharp, then B, then pinky gives us C. Next note down is not the open string. We're going to use our index on that 5th fret. So let's do it again carefully. On the 5th fret on E we have A, sharp, B, then C. The next note is going to be a C sharp, so we put our index right here. Now wait a second, that's not C sharp, so let's do that again. A, sharp, B, C. So how is this C sharp? Because that is most definitely D. So how are we going to hit C sharp while staying in this position? Well, you have choices. You can either play the chromatic scale going up like this, go A, sharp, B, C, and then super pinky it to get C sharp. Or you could do what I said we would never do, which is to play below. So if I did that, it would be A, sharp, B, C, sharp, D. This might be a little confusing now. It's very good to get in your head though. So I'm going to do the super pinky. A, sharp, B, C, sharp. So the pinky moves over by 1 fret. Then we got the next one, D. Sharp. D, sharp, E, F. We need an F sharp, and I know that this note here is not going to be F sharp. If you're wondering how I know that, every string on the 5th fret position is the same as the open string note below it. So if the E string is on the 5th fret, then the next string down is A, right? So that must be an A note. And same thing here with D. So this is 5th fret on the A string gives us the D note. Same thing here on the D string. It's a G. Now this is where it gets different. So the G string actually, you have to go down to the 4th fret to produce B. We just did that before, right? And then we go back to the 5th fret on the B string to give us E. So that's the trick that I use to make sure that the 5th fret position is the same as the open string below it, except for the G string. That one has to be on the 4th fret. So back where we were on the 5th fret, and we were just moving down, so we're going to climb up quickly. A, sharp, B, we're climbing up, so A, sharp, B, C, super pinky, C sharp. Then next fret down gives us D, sharp, E, F, super pinky for F sharp. Then we have G, sharp, A, sharp, and now we need B. This right here is definitely not B. This one is B, so we need super pinky again. So there's A sharp, let's see, sorry. G, sharp, A, sharp, B with the super pinky. Then the next string down gives us C there on the 5th fret. Sharp, D, sharp, we need an E, that's here. So this is the only easy string out of all of them, right? So we have this G string here playing C on the 5th fret, sharp, D, sharp, and we go straight down to that B string on the 5th fret to give us E. F, sharp, G, sharp here on this 9th fret with the pinky, super pinky, before we play A. Sharp, B, C. Good brain twister for you, okay? It's very helpful to take this idea that you did at the very bottom and translate it to other places on the neck, because it forces you to really be careful and think critically. How am I going to produce the next sound, the next tone? Because if you just do it mindlessly, you're playing incorrect notes. You're not playing the correct sequence. This is the chromatic scale, so we're trying to play all 12 tones from any note to the same note up an octave or down. And so it's good to practice in different spots. All right, so we're going to stop there, and we're going to go into the natural note scale now, okay? And after that, we're going to go into chords and take a break. So back to the bottom of the guitar, we're going to play the natural note scale for a couple different notes. The first one we're going to do is E. So the natural note scale means we're playing no sharps, no flats, no black notes on the keyboard, only the white keys on the keyboard. So we're skipping over some of them. So let's go. Sharps are lava, just remember, okay? First one's E, we're safe. Next one we need is a clean F, F natural. That's right there. The next note we need is a G. So we're going to skip over the F sharp and play the G here. After G we need A. Lucky for us, that's the open string below. So we're playing that second string down, that A. Then the middle finger will play the B. Notice we're skipping that first fret because that would have been A sharp. So this is B here on the 2nd fret. Then C is next door on the 3rd. Next we need a D, so we play the open. Then we need an E, and then we need to keep going, so we're going to hit F on the ring, 3rd fret there. Then we need G, so we play the open. We need an A, so we play 2. Now we need a B, so we're just going to go straight to the next string. Then index plays C here. D is on that 3rd fret. And then E again. Not so bad. If you do this a lot, you're going to notice that pattern in your left hand start to develop, and you're going to get this kind of flow going, and that's what we want. So let's go a little faster now. So we have E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A is on that 2nd fret. Then let it off and play the next string down for B, C, D, E. And that's the whole natural note scale starting on E. So let's take this, and instead of, just like with the chromatic scale, instead of just playing down here and doing what we did before where we shifted and started with a new note here, let's move the whole thing up. So now we're going to move the whole thing up to, let's say, the 5th fret. Okay? So we're on the 5th fret, just like with the chromatic scale, except this time we're going to be playing the natural note scale. So we're going to skip some lava notes. Everything sharp we're skipping. So let's start with A. Now we need B, so we skip over that fret here, you go to 7, and that gives us B. Then C is right next door, and now we need D, which luckily is right there on that 5th fret A string. So again, 5th fret starting point on the E string, we're going A, B, C, then D, skip over to E, right next door is F, next note we need is G right here, then A. That's a complete circuit right there. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Really easy pattern. If you do it over and over again, it's super fun. Okay, so you can have fun with that. But let's keep going. So we have A here. Next we need a B. Tricky because this note right here is A sharp. This note is B, so we might need a super pinky. Because if we don't do a super pinky, we have to curl our index over by 1 fret, and that's much worse in my opinion. Better to do the super pinky. Okay, so let's go from the top. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Continue to B with the super pinky. There's B. Next string down gives us C on the 5th fret. Now we need D. Skip over, right? Then E is in the next string down, 5th fret. Then F is right next door, and G is up here on the pinky, and then we have A again. And there's your complete circuit for 2. So 2 octaves. Ready? Let's go from the top. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. B is super pinky. Then C, D, E, F, G, A. Be super careful on that B string, right? Because this note right here is E, and there's nothing between E and F, so it's going to be right next door. Practice this, go up and then go back. Okay, super pinky. Don't forget super pinky on that D string. As long as you remember that, you're good to go. So, and on the G string, you only play 2 notes, right? So that's the A, natural note scale. It also has a cool name. It's called Aeolian. So Aeolian is one of the Greek modes that was invented for the guitar. And as you progress, you will start to become familiar with the modes. As a guitarist, it is so powerful to have not only the caged system to move your chord shapes up and down the neck, but really, I think much more importantly, to know all of the 7 modes, eventually, because it gives you a toolkit. It gives you something you can reach into and play with. No matter what's happening in the music you're playing, there's always a mode that works. Believe me, there's always a mode that will work. So if you're playing this A natural note scale, that's an A natural note scale, also known as the Aeolian Mode. But it's also known as the natural minor scale. So if you ever see natural minor, that's exactly what this is. So have fun with that, practice it a lot. You have the chromatic scale to warm up your brain, and you have the natural note scale to kind of get into the vibe and start to play a little bit and have a little bit of fun with these scales. Okay? Now, I would be remiss to mention the Aeolian mode without at least teasing the other mode that you probably are familiar with without knowing it, and that is the Ionian mode. So you're really getting a lot of punch in this episode, in this lesson. You're getting a lot of material, which is very good for you to start soloing and to start having a little fun with scales. So the Aeolian mode was the one that started on the A note, so on the 5th fret of the E string. We can go a little farther to the 8th fret with our middle finger, and this will be the C scale. So this is the natural note scale on C, meaning we start on C and we play every note of the musical alphabet without sharps. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and so on. Let's just do it. So 8th fret middle finger gives us C. Pinky is going to give us D because we have to skip over that C sharp, right? So sharps are lava still. Natural note scale on C. C, D. Right? C, D. Now the next one we need is E. That's going to be on the 7th fret. So for this one, our index is going to be covering the 7th fret. So again, middle finger 8 on E gives us C. Pinky gives us D. Next note down is going to be E here. Coming right up next to it is F. Then the pinky again is going to give us G. Now we need an A note. That's going to be right here. So 7th fret on the D string. There's A. Now we need B, so we skip over the A sharp. And then C is right next door with pinky. And that's one complete circuit, one octave. Let's do it again. 8, 10, index takes over here. 7. So 8, 10, 7. Do, re, mi. Might sound familiar already. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That should sound familiar. That's the major scale, also known as the Ionian Mode on C, the natural note scale. It has 3 different names for the same thing. It's kind of confusing, but that's okay. You'll learn to like that. You'll learn to appreciate the fact that you can say you can do 3 scales even though it's really 1. Anyway, so let's finish the circuit, the second one. Starting from the top, going a little faster, we have C on 8, D on 10, E on 7, F on 8, G on 10, A on 7, B on 9, and C again on 10. Let's keep going from here. So this is C. Now we need D. That's G string, 7th fret. Now we need an E. That's 9. Then an F is right next door. And then we need a G. So think about this on the B string. That's not going to be G. So starting on the G string on the 7th fret, this one on the 5 is C. We just did it from the last scale. So that means this is C sharp and this is D. So G string on the 7th is D. Now we need an E. That's going to be 9. And we need an F, which we could use the pinky for, right? Now on the B string, we need a G. And that's actually going to be on the 8th fret. So there's G. Pinky gives us A. Then the last string, your index plays the 7th fret of the E string for B, and middle finger plays C, and that's the end of the second circuit. A little bit more confusing than the Aeolian. So this one is the Ionian. It's the first mode. It's C major. It's what you normally call the major scale. And it's a little bit trickier to learn, but once you got it, it's like vanilla ice cream. You're going to have too much of it, and you're going to want something different. Okay, so carefully, I'll count out the notes again. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Not so bad. Not so bad. All right, so now you've got the chromatic scale, you've got the Aeolian scale, and you've got the Ionian scale. That's a lot for this class, but you've been working up to it. So hopefully you've been ready and your fingers are ready to go. And once you're done with this, you're going to be much more empowered to play scales and play solos on top of songs, okay? And it's really important that you now know the natural minor as well as the natural major, which means that whenever you're listening to a song, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be composed in either a major key or a minor key. That means that with these patterns, you will be able to play on 90% of the songs that you either listen to now or will listen to. Okay? So if I just pulled up a song right now, any song, as long as it's written in major or minor, which again, it's probably going to be, I can just say, hey, that one's written in major. So I can play the major pattern. I can play that Ionian mode on the same note that they started on. So let's just say that they started on a different note, like D. Well, I can play the Ionian scale on D. I just do the same pattern, but I move up that starting note. So instead of starting on C, I just start on D. But everything else stays exactly the same. All my finger movements exactly the same. So that's the D major scale, right? Using the exact same pattern as the C. So here's C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now on D it would be D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Oh, excuse me, I misspoke. D, E, F, G, oh that's weird, D, E, F, what the heck? D, E, F. Oh, right, because, I'm a dummy. Because there's a sharp in D. Okay, so it's a little confusing now because I'm going to say sharps, and I don't want to do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. So D, E, F, sharp, G, E, oh my god, A, B, C, excuse me. So D, E, F, sharp, D, E, F. What the heck? Why am I saying D, E, F, sharp? Oh, now I'm confusing myself. We'll get into why there are sharps in other scales later on. So for now, take my word for it that this is another way to play the Ionian mode in different places on your guitar. And that's critical because then you can have a lot more fun playing different chords and playing scales on top of those chords. Okay, so take a break and maybe try out some of these things on your own. Try the Aeolian mode, try the Ionian mode, right? The natural minor or the major, the natural note scale on A or the natural note scale on C, and get a feel for them and start to understand kind of the pattern that your left hand does. Okay, so that should do it for this first segment. Stay tuned for the next one. Okay gang, let's do it again. So this is going to be a review of the chord shapes that we already know. Some of them I only introduced last time, so it'll be good to see them again. So let's just work through C, A, G, E, D, and I'll just describe them from top to bottom. So I'll give you the numbers for the corresponding frets. This one's C. So C major. We're going to do all majors first, then we're going to do minors, all right? So C major is 0, 3, 2, 0, 1, 0. Then A major is going to be 0, 0, 2, 2, 2, 0. Next we have G major, which is 3, 2, 0, 0, 0, 3. Then we have E major, which is 0, 2, 2, 1, 0, 0. And we have D major, which is 0, 0, 0, 2, 3, 2. So that does it for the major chord shapes. I want you to practice those, but now let's go into the minor shapes of those. So C major is like this, and for C minor, we have to drop this finger. So this D string is holding an E note. We need to make this E note into an E flat. So we have to drop this somehow. It takes some rearrangement. So we rearrange, we stretch a little more, and now we cannot just strike every string because we don't want to hear the E note, we want to hear E flat. So we can't play the top string anymore, and we can't play the bottom string, but everything else is good to go. So now this would be described as X, 3, 1, 0, 1, X. It's pretty cool when you arpeggiate, so that means playing individual notes in the chord. down there, buddy? Come on, get your tin can over the hill. My lord. It's an exceptionally loud playing for no reason. Oh boy. Okay, so C minor. X, 3, 1, 0, 1, X. Now A minor, much easier. 0, 0, 2, 2, 1, 0. Then G minor, which is trickier, right? So we have the G major shape here, and we need to drop that B note to B flat. Now again, we don't want to hit that open B string because we want to hear B flat, not B. So don't play that B string. Don't play the open B string. The layout would be 3, 1, 0, 0, X, 3. Next we have E minor, probably the easiest one. So that's 0, 2, 2, 0, 0, 0. This is the rock-on chord. And then we have D minor. So normally D major is here. We need to drop the F sharp down to an F natural. So we need to move this E string second fret to first fret position. So we have to rearrange. That's what it looks like. So the layout is X, 0, 0, 2, 3, 1. And that's it. Now you have all of your major and all of your minor. The tricky part is transitioning between them. As you've probably noticed, the minor shapes involve a lot more stretching and a lot more focus for the right hand, because you can't just strum it all out. It's not convenient. So I do have a solution for you, and I may have introduced it already. Forgive me if I have. But it's good to go back over it if I haven't, or if I have. And if I haven't, it's necessary. So this is what I call the movable E shape. So when we have the E major shape played without the index, it forces us to use that pinky, right? And we can strum out the E major. And we just say, hey, that's E major. I know it to be E major. And that's what it is. But if I move this whole thing up the rails by 1 fret without changing where my fingers are holding the strings, and I add my index across all 6 and I squeeze super hard with my thumb against the wood, I'm now playing an F. So the logic works the same way as the chromatic scale. Next would be F sharp, then G sharp, then A sharp, then B, then C sharp, then D sharp, and then E again. Okay, so the logic is functioning in such a way that your index tells you the name of the chord. So if this is E, that's because it's an open E, right? The next one up is an F, because this note right here is F. This one's F sharp because this note's F sharp, and so on. So that works for all the major chords. Super convenient, because now if I wanted to play C, A, G, E, D, I can do that by moving around a little bit. So this one on the 8th fret is C, then A would be 5, G would be 3, E would be down here, and D would be all the way up on 10. But you see, I could do it, and I never changed the orientation of these 3 fingers. So they maintained that E major shape. I just moved around. Now, to make this into minor is easy as well. You just take that E major shape and you say, let's do an E minor shape. So now the middle finger doesn't play either. And you have E minor. If I move up by 1 and I put the bar on that 1st fret with this gap here, that's F minor. Up again, F sharp minor, G minor, G sharp minor, A, B, so A sharp, then B, then C, C sharp, D, and D sharp and E. All minor. So that's a very easy movable way to play the minors as well. So if I played C minor, be on 8, then A minor would be on 5, G minor would be on 3, E minor would be down here, and D minor would be way up here. And that's that, okay? So you've got the natural shapes, the open chord shapes as they're called, for all the majors and all of the minors now. And you've got the movable E major, as well as the movable E minor. And I think next time we can talk about the lower shape, so the lower minor shape, which is exactly the same as the A minor. We're just moving around that A minor. So for example, A minor, then I slide up and I hold index. This tells me, based on the A string, what note I'm playing. So instead of following the E string for the identity, I identify it using the A string. So this one is A sharp minor, then B minor, then C minor, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and A again. So we're slowly but surely getting ourselves accustomed to the many different ways to play the same thing. And that's the redundancy that is guitar. But without it, we wouldn't have this incredible range of octaves to play all over this instrument. And that's really what we want to get to, is just playing all along this neck and experiencing all the differences in tonalities and really just the quality of those chords as you play them in different places. Okay, that's it. So you have a lot of stuff you can play with. You got chord shapes, you've got scales for the day. There's a lot there. The only thing that I'm sad to not have in this lesson is some rhythm. So maybe play along with a song you like and get into the rhythm and strumming pattern there. Okay, that's it. Have fun. See you in the next one.